So let me double check one thing. Okay. 1 second. We should be live. Yes, we are live now. So hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. This is my show, Make with H2O. My name is Jo-fai Chow, and I'm one of the data scientists from H2O. So today I have my colleague and Cargo Grandmaster Mark and Gabor with me. So first of all, Mark and Gabor, please introduce yourself to the audience.
I'll go first. Hi, I'm Mark Landry. I'm a data scientist with H2O. I've been here for about 6.5 years, so one of the older members of the team. And I kind of came in through participating in Kaggle, so perhaps some of you know me that way. A Kaggle competitions grandmaster, not as active as I once was, but still do from time to time. And with H2O now, I'm doing some of our document AI solutions and also helping out with this Wildfire challenge and our hosting of that challenge. I actually got to H2O in part from Jo-fai, actually, because he was doing a Kaggle competition a long time ago demonstrating H2O's neural networks, and I followed along with that, and it was really fun. So I owe a lot of this to Joe, actually. So.
All right, Gabor, your turn.
Hi, I'm Gabor Fodor, and probably you know me by Beluga. I joined Kaggle 10 years ago and participated in many different competitions since then. Mainly supervised competitions with traditional leaderboard, but also occasionally with analytics competitions like the one we will talk about right now. I joined H2O last year and a half ago in August, and I'm in the Kaggle Grandmaster team, working on different projects, working sometimes with customers, with POCs, or in other cases, developing wave apps for the H2O AI cloud. And my latest project was also involved in the Wildfire challenge, which we'll talk a bit more about soon.
Well, thank you, Mark and Gabor. So most of you know that today we are going to talk about a challenge. This is our first AI for Good challenge, and this is about fighting wildfire. So the reason why I got Mark and Gabor with me is that they're going to give you an overview, and then with a cool demo developed by Gabor. So Mark, are you ready to show us?
Sure.
Okay. The stage is yours.
All right. Let me share. I'm going to go ahead and show. So here, jump right into kind of the competition. So as Joe mentioned, this is an AI for Good challenge. It's our first to host. Many of us, have used, active on Kaggle and many other competition sites. There's many other platforms, but this is one we're just trying to run in our own way and demonstrate some of the linkage that we can get with some of our wave apps. But it's definitely first AI for Good. So Wildfire challenge, bushfires are also known in Australia. We are running this as Gabor alluded to, as a hackathon, a more traditional hackathon. So that's one big thing up front. So this, it's not as a typical Kaggle challenge where you have a defined data set and usually running predictions against it in a supervised manner. Even unsupervised, sometimes the data sets are set. So that's a big thing that differs from what many of you may be familiar with, but this is very traditional in a hackathon setting. And in fact, even for wildfires, there are several attempts at this. We looked at a group in Colorado that was trying to run one of these using the kind of the mantra that, letting people explore and using a hackathon setting to try to see what kind of solutions are out there rather than everyone picking one side of the problem. So that differs from what many of us are used to. So here we are hosting this again. Like I say, you can see the URL probably in my browser, wildfire.challenge.h2o.ai. I'm logged in, not going to speak through too much of this. I'm not really going to demonstrate, just kind of hit some of the key points. So our basic landing page, I do have a team already. You can see some links here. We're working on integrating these into the site itself, but we have a H2O community Slack that we're looking to. There's a channel for the Wildfire Challenge in there, and there's also Wildfire Challenge forums that are here on discuss. So we have a few topics here. We may get into that a little later, but if you have questions, we're paying attention to all of these channels so far. In fact, we got one through an email that we'll post here, trying to get it everywhere so you can ask us questions about it. So we have a few good questions coming in. We hope that maybe this webinar will drum up a few more questions. So those are some key points from that first page. There's an overview here. Again, you can read the idea of the problem. We'll get into a little bit of that more. One of the big ones is that what we're looking for here is an open source AI app. And so again, that's different from just prediction file. And so Gabor is going to show you an example of one that will do that. And so it's a little wider than what we see with Kaggle. The problem definition is open-ended, and the way you display it is somewhat open-ended, but definitely it's meant as a user interface. So an AI app that drives towards certain things. So there's a little more about that in the getting started. And so if we have time, we may jump back into some of this, but you can read it here as well. So it kind of guides you through the process, but it's really, again, it's the more complete data science process, not just a specific thing. So one of our first questions on the forum was, where's the data set? The data set's up to you. We've demonstrated one, we're providing access to that. You can touch and feel the application we're going to see later today. But the data set is up to you, because the specific problem you're going to solve is open-ended. We want to try, AI for good is unlimited, I suppose. And so, we're try to find where the right problems are. And that's what step 2 is kind of being about. So this is a data science process in a wider view, one you would see in industry, a little different again than some of the competition platforms that do that, where they handle that for you. So if you have any questions on some of these, certainly let us know on those two, the forums or Slack or both. Here, I just want to, so we do have a leaderboard. It's not a prediction competition, so you'll see that, we're still a couple submissions so far, a little bit of testing functionality and showing the wave app that we have. But we do have quite a few people entering. And so we have 91 teams so far. So that's great. There's definitely some engagement. You do see some H2O teams in here, but we definitely have some pretty exciting entries from other companies around that we can see, and just various people intending to compete. So we hope that this will get anybody who's needs a little help getting going, a little more information about that. But this still works even without the typical Kaggle kind of leaderboard. We can still sort of see, this is my own team. So see, we have up to 5 people can join as a team. There's typical team joining interfaces. So you can get a team of 5. And that is really, especially going back to kind of the hackathon theme, this is a complex, we're trying to really solve a new problem. And so it's not just a modeling problem. So choosing a data source, you may have people in your team that focus on the business side of things, of getting something right, coding up the app, putting it all together. We'd all like to be doing all of that, full stack data scientists, but even here, it's some of the business side. So SMEs and things like that, all of that's kind of part of this. So hopefully we see some teams. We definitely have a few so far. And the submissions is pretty basic. Like here, we will show an example of what that is, but we're going to try and do, again, an AI app is what we're asking for. And so you'll see a little bit of on the getting started kit here. You'll see our example. That's what we're really trying to show you how it can be. We're already seeing there's a nice forum post of someone who's giving a try and showing what they're doing. We want it to be collaborative as we can. In fact, it's not quite here, but that's a key point on this. So rather than a first, second, third, which may be typical, the way this is organized is 2 different phases. And so the first phase will be about a month from now, December 15th, and there's 10 winners. So, and everyone's equivalent. There's no first to 10th. There's just, we have judges that will look at these. We have some, don't have it up in here at the moment. We have the criteria. There's certain kind of a point system that's out there, but it's a mix of subjective and objective. So we want to leave it free for people to be creative but also solving the right problem and making it actionable are some key points here. But at that first milestone, there'll be 10 winners. And at the second one, which is about a month after, I think exactly a month after, we'll have 5 final winners. So I think it's about $1,500 for the first phase and $3,000 for the second phase. But we do have judges set up to grade, and then provide feedback between the two phases as well. So I'm trying to probably just not have the visual up here, but there's the main site page that has some of the judges. Hopefully we can pull that up later in this call. But we'll take a look at that phase 1, which again is December 15th. So what you can submit at that point, we'll take and review. It's going to be a manual review. It's not scoring like a refined thing. So we have to kind of take a subjective look at what's been done. So it'll take a little while to do that. I think we're a little over a week to review the submissions that come in and choose the winners of that first phase, and then provide feedback on those, marching towards the second phase. Try to get as best submissions as we can. Again, with the collaborative nature, so it's a competition, but we intend to make it open for as many good solutions as we can. So there's no vying for first versus 10th, first versus 5th, the second milestone. We kind of welcome everything. We really want to contribute to try and help the wildfire problem, and so that this step 2 is pretty important. Trying to choose a problem that looks like it can help. So. Open for, we'll get questions after. I'm going to turn over to Gabor in just a sec, so he can actually walk through what we're showing as a demonstration of one of these apps. So demonstrate Wave, let him show all of that. But we can certainly get questions on anything I haven't covered here, or again, in those two kind of channels, reach out to us if you think of something afterwards. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and turn it over to Gabor, who's going to walk through a notebook. And the thing I said I was going to, before Gabor worked here, middle of last year, you can see that he did really well on some of the COVID challenges that Kaggle was running. And that was the time I was kind of reintroduced. He and I are both kind of Kaggles for quite a long time. I don't know, 8-10 years, something like that. So I've known him, and he produced some really good notebooks there that really kind of attacked the problem in a simple way when some people were just kind of throwing tools at it. So I found that interesting, and I think he's kind of done that with this one too. So let him walk you through that application. Go ahead, Gabor.
Thanks, Mark. I will start sharing the screen. So you should be able to see a very clean app store. So for this particular challenge, we launched a completely new environment for our H2O AI Cloud. Currently, it only has a starter kit app, but we are encouraging participants to upload their Wave apps, and later, when they make it public after the first deadline, we will have more and more useful apps to prevent wildfires, monitor their spread, or even forecast the different locations or even timeframes you have to look out for. And for this starter kit I will talk about, we also share the code. We will look into that later, but let's just open. This is a very simple Wave app. If you are not familiar with Wave, it's quite similar to other Python dashboard apps like Shiny or Dash or Streamlit. I won't go into the details. This is just a simple starter kit. You can have different tabs for describing the data set, modeling or predicting. So it's a bit more interactive than you would have in a Jupyter notebook. And you could add buttons and tables and the usual visualizations you would need. For this very simple baseline model, we used a dataset from NASA, the Fire Information Resource Management System. They are kind enough to make it public and refresh it in a near real-time mode. So basically, we know where and when happens fires, or at least the fire readings. It's not necessarily a wildfire. It could be any heat, thermal activity on the surface. It could be a volcano or even just a factory. You have to take that into account. You have a nice calculated confidence. So with this cleaned data set, you can start on a global scale because it's available all over across the globe. And it's quite easy. You don't need to work with satellite images or any additional data set. But if you are happy to deal with those, we are allowing external data sets as well. So this app only uses this specific data set, but you are able to search for weather data or geography or even for the western part of US, especially for California, you could have live web cameras feeding and monitoring each and every wildfire. So we wanted to have the competition open-ended on purpose. So we are also looking for the participants' creativity to search for new methods to tackle this problem. So basically, with this simple app, we are just using the historical behavior, and we only use the information where has been fire in the past, and we are trying to predict the next year. Basically, we are not even looking for the next year. Actually, we used 2021 as a test set, and all the details are shared in our GitHub repo. It's public, so you could check both the how to build a very simple wave app on this data set. Special thanks to Azim. He these instructions if you are. So please follow the README and ask any questions later, either on the forum or in the Wave community. We are here to help. And if you are interested in this baseline solution, you could still check the data preparation notebook, how we used the original data set to compress it a bit. We are rounding the raw data set to have a much smaller focus. We are only using the data for Australia. We are rounding each latitude and longitude into one decimal degree. So we are predicting fires on a quite sparse grid. You could have all the different details for your application, because this baseline solution wouldn't be that helpful for any real firefighters. It's too sparse, but you are welcome to improve it. It's quite easy to use additional external data sets to improve either the model performance. You can also check our notebooks later to add more features or try different gradient boosting trees or even neural networks if you prefer to. And that's it for now. So please feel free to play with the app in the App Store or check the GitHub repo and try to improve it yourself. And I will stop sharing.
Thank you, Mark and Gabor. Okay, so let's go through a few questions. First one, can we go through the scoring criteria a bit more, Mark? We'll be able to share your screen again, looking at the homepage. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm not having this earlier. So at actually H2O.ai Wildfire, we'll try to find a way to link that in so we can get the expanded version of these here. And so yes, the scoring criteria. So we talk about some of the things I've already mentioned, the dates and some of the judges we have from Wildfire industry at CBA, the CEO of Zindi, our CEO of H2O, and we are adding to these as well. So a few of the grandmasters. So here we go, the scoring details. So it's almost backwards a little bit. So we have the big one, 50 points for usability. So that's that very first question, trying to pick something that's actionable, usable here. But you know, that's a big part of a lot of these. But yeah, these are, I'm not going to maybe do every word, but hopefully, you know, this is the criteria here. So clarity, 10 points, accuracy, 10 points, creativity, 15, explainability, 15, and usability, 50. So that's obviously a big one. So we want to be attacking a problem that really helps Wildfire. So yeah, and if that's if we want to dig into any of those, but yeah, so this will be here also again, as you can see in my browser. So that criteria will be available there. Cool. Seems like a good post we can put into our forums as well for anybody to make sure it's accessible.
Thank you, Mark. Could you show us the prizes again? So what are the prizes for the top 5 teams? Yes.
Yep, definitely. So first submit. So we have $1,500 for the top 10 submissions at that first submission deadline and the final submission. So that's kind of how I broke it up. Let me tie that real quick so you can see. I mentioned these earlier, but here we have the key dates. So we're already launched. So we're already in between this one. First submission, December 15th. Like I said, 1 month after that is final submission. So that first submission at December 15th, and note this here, participants must submit their AI application in the first submission to participate in the final. There are more prizes for the first submission as well. So get that idea going, put it in some form, and then polish it ideally. And again, this is after you get the feedback from the judges as well. Prize or no prize, we hope to hit all the submissions we can, really all this. Yes, for those prizes at the bottom, $1,500 for the top 10 submissions at that first submission deadline, and $3,000 for the top 5 at the final submission deadline, and swag for all participants who submit. So please do.
Right.
We're looking forward to that. So we've seen some people preparing for it, but we're definitely really looking forward to. We refreshed that leaderboard a lot internally. So it's great to see the team size hit 91. We've seen it. It started out somewhere in the 40 range or so and just kept growing a little bit. So it's been great that the word has gotten out, and we keep seeing it grow, quite a lot through last week and a little bit more even this week so far.
Excellent. Excellent. So the next question I have is, how do we get help? So if I have a problem, how can we get help from the team and other members?
Yeah, definitely. And so that there's a couple. So this is the form here. I glanced through it because really the links are going to be right here, where we'll try to integrate. Hopefully by the time we clear this, we'll have a little more tighter integration with some of, sorry, with these. So H2O community Slack, I will dangerously, oh no, I'm not even sharing that application. I closed Slack, but there's a Slack team we have set up, and it's the overall community Slack we have. So you might see some other interesting things there too, but so the community Slack will take you to that if that's familiar to you. So that is kind of a live interaction, is like Discord or something like that, depending on what you're familiar with. Microsoft Teams, maybe some of that functionality, but Slack is a great place. We use it internally. And if we get some good questions, we definitely would, it's a really great way to kind of debug things. So if you have some wave questions or some notebook questions, something like that, Slack is a good way to try and get that. We'll try to get somebody to help as quickly as we can, and you might see a little bit of synchronous kind of communication there. And the challenge forums, more typical kind of place. So that would be this one. So we have a topic for the Wildfire Challenge, and you can see there's a few posts here, a few responses. Miguel Batista in particular, seen him a few places. So we're paying attention. We're trying to answer these as quickly as we can. I think we're doing a good job so far, but it'd be great to get some more questions as perhaps in response to this, or just anything you have getting started. We're here to help for sure. We really want to see some good submissions, so trying to do what we can to encourage that.
Cool, that's awesome. Okay, so next question we have, so who are the partners? So are we partnering with someone else?
Yeah, quite a few people actually. So I think the Commonwealth Bank of Australia is one of the ones that we're working with here. So we have Dan as one of the judges, you can see. As well as Snowflake as well. So I believe that's where Justin comes in. So yeah, we've seen some press releases that kind of talk about this, and we're all learning maybe in the US. I mean, we all know this a little bit, but reminded of the fact that it goes by bushfires in Australia and wildfires over here in the US. We're all solve either problem, as many, anything related to this. There isn't really too small a scope for that.
That's cool. Okay, so we don't have any other questions now. Is there anything you guys want to add before we conclude? Okay, no. Okay, so
I think so. Yeah, I think we'll yeah, really try to reach out to us to make it engaging, ask questions. I think, you know, as this has gotten started, a lot of us internally are kind of getting interested. We have daily calls about the competition platform as we created this in time. It's a Wave app too, by the way, so as you're using it. But the competition calls, once we launched, have turned into more than, as much as expanding the platform as it is trying to help with Wildfire from all different directions, you know, trying to get, do what we can to get engagement, get everyone really going, again, collaborative, you know, trying to share what we can. So the starter kit was important to us, and I don't think we'll stop there. So, you know, I've been researching some of these things myself. You know, I don't intend to win a prize per se. I just really want to help, and so anybody else who can take those. So I think we'll probably start seeing some posts from us to try to get some ideas out there as well. So especially if people are struggling at that part, but definitely the message would be just let us know of any kind of questions. You know, if any of this. If you have a question on this or just need some help getting started, you know, there's stuff on the forums, a little bit of really clear idea we saw on there of on the topic. Sorry about that. That's what I get for trying to do it live. But there's some good stuff in the forums so far, and for the Wave apps as well. But that's not, we didn't quite say it. We're not requiring a Wave app. It was worded as an AI app. So like Gabor said, similar kind of things like a Streamlight, Shiny, you know, Flask, whatever it might be, to try and make it engaging and interactive. And with that first milestone, there's a bit in the criteria. We don't ask much of what a submission is, but if you get to making a submission, go ahead and check out what we're looking for with that. Looks like that. Good reminder to me. So we can do a better job of making sure what's clear. So there we go. Okay, it's in the Wildfire kit as well. So what we're trying to do with that. But if there's more questions, and as we go through these, we'll try to answer more things before we get questions on these. It's a good thing for us to run through these as well and try to realize what kind of content we need to improve to get it out to you guys. So.
Yeah, that's great. So thanks again, Mark and Gabor. Thanks for really good introductions to the challenge. I think for the next video, for the next Make with H2O show, we will invite some of my other colleagues here to show you actually how do we upload a Wave app or just an AI app to the competitions, so we can actually show it to other people. So that will be the next one after the Thanksgiving holiday in the US. So check it out when we have the date announced. So thanks again for joining us today. I hope you get a good idea of the whole challenge, and then feel free to ask any questions on the forum, on Slack, and make sure that we provide enough details to support you guys for the competitions. In the meantime, do reach out to us when you have any ideas, maybe for the future competition as well, because this is the first one that we're doing for the AI for Good competitions. But if you have more ideas on how we can actually use AI to help the world, please reach out to us, and then we can kind of collaborate a bit in the coming months. Okay, so thanks again for joining us today. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks' time. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.